All right, Vicksburg High football coming up at the top of the hour. Glad you can join us for Gator football as they take on Ridgeland. Boy, the next couple of weeks going to be fun around here. Ridgeland and Warren Central, but it starts with Ridgeland this evening. Todd McDaniel and the Wing T rolling into town. Glad you could join us as the Gators look to go 3-0. They're 2-0 at the moment. Charles Edmond with Vicksburg High coach Chris Lacey. Coach, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing? How you doing?
You're a teacher, so you give assignments, you ask questions, you give a test. So when was the last time we were 2-0?
Ooh, 2016 was when the last time we were 2-0. 2016. 2016.
You got an A.
2016.
You got an A for that. All right. So we're going for 3-0, and that's coming up here against Ridgeland. But the storyline, obviously, for me, going into this game last week, and I didn't realize until late in the week, you were without your star running back, Jadarius Henderson. He was in a sleeve. I'm like, who's going to step up? But what impressed me about the game last Friday night was he had so many other guys step up. I'm like, man, this was probably the deepest, correct me if I'm wrong, the deepest that you've gone into this roster in terms of playmakers and just guys stepping up.
Yeah, it's deep when it comes to like the skill guys that can play. We trying to develop some more linemen right now, but as far as skill guys go from 10th to 12th grade, it's a group, and that's a plus, and sometimes it's challenging to try to, get guys on the field and have them understanding, their roles and how they can contribute to what we're trying to do. Kind of had that issue last year with a couple kids, Jermaine was one of them where, he had the Corey and Blackmore in front of him, but he could do the same thing. It was just, you got to kind of find your fit and find where you can help us out at it. And the kids have done a good job this year of everybody kind of just finding their time and finding their moments and just being patient when it comes.
Get in where you fit in.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard as a coach to kind of get guys to think that, especially in this generation of, I guess you call it the microwave society where kids want that instant gratification for stuff. But it's just you got to sit them down and kind of get them to see where they are, their contribution helps the team out. And that's been a challenge for us since this summer, but I think we kind of got a good balance with it.
So let's talk about it here. I mean, Jaquez Jones, Nick Carson, Jones. Talk a little bit about those guys. And I mean, we know the usual cast of characters, but these were names that we didn't expect that stepped up.
They there. Those two for sure are underclassmen. Nick's 11th grader. Jaquez is a sophomore. Really good athlete. Both of them played multiple sports. Nick's a baseball player. Jaquez plays basketball. They both pretty exceptional in both of them. And it's just, I think after the Natchez game, you really didn't see them. And they kind of, had that look on their faces like, am I going to play? And I'm like, hey, football is week to week. Just focus on, are you doing the right things in practice for when your moment comes, you're ready to go. I mean, all three of them on kickoff return, things of that nature. But Friday was their night, so I was pleased with how they played.
What is that like, knowing that guys want to play, players want to play, and try to fit them in and try to keep them focused and keep them level-headed and keep them from having to go the other way?
Well, you got to show them examples of people who do that. Teams that have loaded rosters or teams that have pretty talented rosters that you could kind of show them and say, hey, this guy right here was this before. So one of the examples I always use with them is the Alabama roster where, once upon a time you had Calvin Ridley, Jared Judy, Henry Ruggs. They all were on the same team when they beat Georgia in the national championship, but Devontae Smith was last on the roster. And then he ended up being a Heisman Trophy winner. And he caught the game-winning touchdown in the national championship against Georgia that year. So that's an example I use with them to say, hey, look, Devontae Smith was on kickoff that year. He was a gunner on punt return, but he ended up catching the game-winning touchdown in the national championship and becoming a Heisman Trophy winner, and ultimately a millionaire. So you gotta kind of, like I say, find your fit, find your role, and do it with pride, and understand that at the end of the night, when that scoreboard done, it's gonna either say Gators won or Gators lost. So it's all of us.
Well, Gators won last Friday, 48-12. What impressed you about this one? You had to pull away late, but it was kind of a tussle. But I really thought that we had control of the game. But then in the third quarter, you made some plays. You were able to get your backup quarterback in the game. I mean, so you're talking about another situation where you're playing some extra people. But just your overall thoughts on trying to handle Forest Hill.
I mean, one in the first quarter, just how slow it was. Like we had the opportunities in the red zone, we just didn't execute on. So it was good and bad on both ends because we also had a situation where the defense had their back against the wall in the red zone. They ended up getting a big stop. And shout out to Troy Rogers. He's one of our defensive tackles. Off the wing, I called him and asked him to go out and play some nose guard, and he ended up holding it in the road. When he went out there, so that was good for him. But I'm just starting off that slow. I think we were just kind of, not to disrespect anybody or say anything bad, but I think we were just kind of playing down a little bit. We were roster-wise better than Forest Hill. I mean, just to say it, but those kids play hard. But when you get in games like that, Bill Walsh, I read his book. He said it's okay when you kind of outmatch an opponent to just do what you got to do. Kill a gnat with a sledgehammer. Like, it's okay. And I think the kids were just kind of, I don't know, having that pullback of, is it okay for us to just, kind of go through? And it killed us last year. We had the same type of game last year, and Forest Hill give them some room, and they end up getting us. Same thing with Florida this weekend and South Florida. So Florida play hard, but Florida has a better roster, and they should, kind of win that game. But if you kind of let people hang around, they'll get you. So that was kind of like the fear at first. Is like, are we going to make this kind of like the game of last year? But we had to do at halftime, and then they came out in the second half and dominated.
Well, Warfield, Thomas McKnight, I mean, just so many different weapons, so many different options. It's always good.
Yeah, it is. It's a good thing, and it's hard. Just it's only one football. You only get a certain amount of plays, so kind of getting them guys the ball is kind of hard. But you want to tell them, like, there's other ways you can contribute. I think the best play of the game, in my opinion, is when Jermaine broke for that long run going toward the scoreboard. And if anybody go back and watch the clip, Daquan pancaked the guy, did a front flip, rolled back up on his feet, and he ended up catching up with JT running down the field. And, JT was on his inside, and then he ended up telling him, come back this way. And to me, that was what we want football to be. Like, Daquan didn't touch the ball that play, but that was one of the biggest plays of the game, that if he didn't get them 2 blocks, we don't, have the success we have. And then next play, we throw him a touchdown. So it's kind of what you want out of those kids.
On the other side of it, unfortunately, he had some players ejected.
Right.
And so I from where we were, from what we saw, we didn't see, it just didn't look all that serious, but apparently it was.
Well, yeah, they ended up ejecting Abel Gonzalez, but we ended up, getting him taken care of, so he'll be able to go Friday and be able to play. But it was the same with me. Like, I saw it, and I was like, he didn't do anything. Probably some ruckus going on or whatever, but we ended up getting it taken care of, and he should be good tonight.
How does a kicker get?
Hey, Abel feisty, man. Like, he not your average kicker. He's standing about 6'3". He probably got to be 205 pounds. He can kick it. He a baseball player. Abel's a different dude, so he got a little edge to him. So
Okay.
and you want that, so you got to kind of watch Abel.
He was trying to make like, how did the kicker get?
He got an edge to him. He got an edge to him.
Janet, one other player ejected. How did that? Will he be able to?
Well, it was just Abel.
It was just Abel. Well, I guess I was looking at a player, 2 players that got escorted off.
Yeah, I don't remember what I tried to catch that and see what was going on, but nah, it was just Abel.
Okay.
The other kid ended up being okay, but it was just Abel, so we ended up getting straight.
So that was just one of the things, and obviously you got to play through that. And
right.
So what's the backup plan if that happens? If it goes down, and hope it doesn't get hurt, but something like that happens.
Well, Deontay Sylvie Jr. was a kicker. Well, he's backup quarterback, but he was a kicker when he was a freshman. So we asked him to come in and just, maintain for us, and he did a pretty good job of doing that. And then Casey, one of our kickers, he ended up coming in. I think he had
Casey Brown.
Casey Brown. I think he ended up having 2 field goals. He missed a couple, but he wasn't expecting to go out there. So, but that's my point. Like, you tell the kids, like, just practice for the moment, because you never know when
Be ready.
It's your opportunity. So it's hard connecting that dot with kids, but they see it.
Yeah. And look, after the game was over with, the celebration was on, getting that home win, the band and everything. How did that feel?
It feel good to do that. It's good to see when you look around the stadium, you see a whole bunch of people in green, black, and white with smiling faces. I told the kids, before the game, like, we got to take more pride in what we do on Fridays, because, somebody probably had a bad week, and just you winning a football game would be the difference in them just smiling at work through the bad. People love football. It's America's sport, and, in our town, in our city, it can kind of change some days. So just take a little more pride in the people that pay tickets to come watch our play.
Well, you talked about Deontay Selvig Jr., the backup quarterback. He got involved. What's the expectation for him when that quarterback position?
He developing. He go through his own little trials and tribulations. One, because he's a bigger guy, so he hears a lot of flack about people telling him he shouldn't be a quarterback or he should be a tight end or whatever like that. But the kid trains, works, and studies quarterback play. His favorite player is Shedeur Sanders. So, that's what you want. You want people to doubt you so you can prove them wrong. So I was proud of him coming in the game and doing his thing. Like I say, he's still developing, and it's gonna be a process to get him where he's gonna get. But yesterday in the JV game, he threw 3 touchdowns. So he's striving. He come from good household that kind of keep him level-headed and works him out and keep him hard. So I'm excited to see his development for the next couple of years.
Speaking of development, the Gators are developing as a team, and now you got a big matchup here tonight, Coach. Let's talk about it. Todd McDaniel and the Wing T. Ridgeland 2-0. They beat Mendenhall, and then last week 42-20 victory over Provine. Their passing game just 67 yards. Had a big 60-plus yard touchdown pass, but 233 yards running the football. That's the Wing T. That's Todd McDaniel. He's been doing it forever. So what is, obviously, it's have a broken record every time we play Ridgeland, but what's the key to at least slowing it down or stopping it?
You got to play responsible football, responsible football. Not get caught up in all the little nuances and gadgets and eye candy that the Wing T gives you. It's just a disciplined game, and that's easy to say for me, but it's hard to say for high school kids, who have their eyes all over the place. So you just kind of slow practice down and, focus on your keys and do the things you're supposed to do. And, this senior class is not unfamiliar with what he does, because the last year he was here, they were running it as freshmen. So they're familiar with the offense. Everybody's familiar with Coach Todd. And we just know what type of football team you're going to have. You're going to have a hard-nosed, grind it out, put you in a phone book type of team. So we ready for the challenge, and we're going to see it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And you look at your defense, Coach, 1 touchdown first couple of games, your defense really is getting it done.
Yeah, they playing hard with each other. And I think that just, like I said, they just go back to coaching and just the kids, believing in what's being taught to them and what's being said. It's been built throughout the offseason, throughout the summer on both sides of the ball. But the defense has a couple goals that they try to reach every game. And, I think it kind of pee them off sometimes if they don't get it. So Friday, we didn't get all the goals that we wanted. So they've been doing a pretty good job of trying to get there. And this is going to be probably the biggest challenge we done had so far, just because of just how the Wing T is. So it's going to be fun to see. Like I said, I always got the best seat in the house to be able to see the kids do it, and we're just going to get our best shot.
Well, the one thing about it as far as the game, you're going to try to run the football. They are going to run the football. And when Coach McDaniel was here, he would always say, when he's rolling, that means that you're not going to have many possessions.
Yeah, and we got to, and that's the thing, you got to try to steal some, whether it's on special teams or whether it's, getting the ball out on a turnover or something like that. You got to try to steal them. And then you got to be real good on offense, because, you don't want to get into a game where it's fourth quarter and it's close and then they're up or it's a tie game and then he got the ball in his hand.
Yeah.
And then you playing into what he likes to do. So that right there in itself is just a challenge. And we embrace challenges. You know, the kids have done a good job of it. And they know the game plan. We talked about it. So we're just going to go out there and try to execute. That's what it comes down to.
Their quarterback, D.K. Wallace, was 3 of 7 for 72 yards. What do you see in him? Or is he even a factor?
Yeah, he a real factor. He got a different skill set because he can run and he can throw. And he can block. You know, his plays where he get out on the edge and he'll block too. He pretty much in command of that offense. He actually won, I think, Offensive Player of the Year or something last year in our district when we were with them in 6A, 2-6A. So I'm familiar with him. You know, watched a lot of film on him to understand what type of kid we dealing with here. I think he's been in the system 3 years. So he kind of reminds me of like how Ronnie Alexander was, where he ended up getting it together. So one thing about Ty, he gon', you know, you give him time, he gon' make it work with what he needs to make it work with. So that's gonna be a challenge.
This is gonna be a fun game tonight, I believe.
Yeah, it is. We talked Sunday for 3 seconds. Said
3 seconds.
3 seconds, and phones got hung up, and we ready to go.
Well, what'd you say in 3 seconds? What did he tell you? What did you tell him in 3 seconds?
See you Friday.
Oh, see you Friday.
Yeah, see you Friday. So it's gonna be fun.
Well, we started this interview with a question. You're a teacher, and you got it right. The last time we were 3-0.
Last time Vicksburg was 3-0.
Got an A for the class if you get this one.
Last time Vicksburg. Ooh, watch this. Come on, Chris. Okay. I have to go through my mind. Vicksburg played in the North State Championship 01 or 02. 2 years. Then in 2008, it's one. I graduated high school. It has to be.
Caught yourself out of 2001.
Oh!
You had it.
Man.
You were on it. You had it. You narrowed it down. You had the rain.
Okay.
2001 is the last time.
Okay.
They started 3-0.
Okay.
How would it feel to get to 3-0 with Warren Central coming up?
That'll feel good because you put yourself in a, I guess, with them type of questions, you know, like an elite company where somebody one day is sitting in his seat and probably had the same question asked to them. So that's a thing that would be cool. But like the kids, like we kind of out of 2-0. Like our minds are always 1-0 this week. And it'll feel good to be able to do that. So whatever accolades and accomplishments come with that, that's fine. But we just trying to go 1-0 this week, and that's been a big focus in practice, and we're gonna take a shot at it tonight.
Gator football coming up here against Ridgeland should be a good one. Coach, let's go get them.
Yes, sir.
We'll take this time out here from Memorial Stadium. Buckle up. Right back after the kickoff.